Good afternoon. Welcome to Federal University of Lafia. We're live today with the 16th Inaugural Lecture Series. It is also important to know that today's inaugural lecture will mark it the 15th inaugural lecture under the administration of the current Vice Chancellor, Professor Shehu Abdul Rahman, the Vice Chancellor of Federal University of Lafia. Today we're celebrating a great professor, a professor of painting, the Dean Faculty of Environmental Design. Ladies and gentlemen, our inaugural lecturer for today is Professor Blaise Gundu Gbaden. Gundu Gbaden is a household name in creative art and also around our university. So stay connected for the inaugural lecture proper. In the meantime, I'm Ene Godwin for the full Lafia Bulletin.
For the success of this important academic event.
National Research and Partnership, Professor Samaila Usman. We welcome the Registrar of the University, Mala Obedinam. We have here the Professor of the University, Mr. Daniel Wilson. We recognize the presence of the University Librarian, Professor Lafia. We'd like to welcome the Chairperson of the Inaugural Lecture Committee of the University, Professor Blaise Gundu Gbaden. We recognize the University Auditor, Professor Lafia. Ladies and gentlemen, let us put our hands together as we recognize the presence of the inaugural lecturer, Professor Blaise Gundu. We'd like to acknowledge the presence of all deans and directors of the university who are here. We recognize also especially members of the Senate of the University of Lafia. We welcome all the head of security agencies who are here for this event. We have family members who have come to be part of this. We have want to acknowledge the presence of Grandma Regina Yuki Top. Welcome, Mama. Let's recognize the presence of the wife and the inaugural lecturer, Dr. Esther Gbaden, head of the Department of Law. Dr. Lady Mrs. Patrick Pilar, KSGI, we're here. We acknowledge your presence. Mr. and Mrs. Salve, we're here. We welcome you. We welcome Mr. and Mrs. Telmon Bakar. We recognize the presence of Engineer and Mrs. Olade Akinsoku. We have Mrs. Martina Asu. We're here. We recognize the presence. We welcome Mr. and Mrs. Stephen Kwaza. We acknowledge the presence of Mr. Paul Himba Abuko, Honorable and Mrs. Samuel Tehi Tool, the head present, Mr. and Mrs. John Tewasi Abuko, the head, Mr. and Mrs. Joseph Temu Abuko, welcome you. Welcome Mr. and Mrs. Joseph Baka, Mr. and Mrs. Akufure. We recognize the presence of Professor Alonso Euro. Welcome, sir. We welcome all our priests and religious ladies who are here. We acknowledge your presence. We'd like to welcome Mr. Ahmed Sudani, Director General, National Gallery of Arts, Abuja, who is here ably represented by Mr. Kudibem, the Acting Director of Planning and Research Department, National Gallery of Arts. We welcome Mr. Matthew Okama, Planning and Research Department, National Gallery of Arts, Abuja. We recognize the presence of Okafo in the National Gallery of Arts, Sarawak State. We have Matubu Honora, the Orator of National Gallery of Arts. We recognize the presence of Professor Gowon, President Society of Nigeria Theatre Artists. We welcome you. We welcome members of the Night of the Moruba Lafia Folk Council. We welcome you all. We welcome all heads of security agencies who are here. Mr. Vice Chancellor, we have a long list of invited guests, but time will not permit us to acknowledge everyone who is here by his or her name. And we want to say we are happy with your presence and welcome you to the Federal University of Lafia. We welcome you to the 16th Inaugural Lecture of the University. Thank you very much for coming. At this point, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to invite the Chairperson of the Inaugural Lecture Committee of the University, Professor Joseph for the welcome address.
Vice Chancellor, sir, his management team, colleagues, senators, professors from far and wide, I can see very familiar faces. Reverend Father, family of the presenter, our security chiefs, always with us and protecting us. I welcome all of you, ladies and gentlemen, students. Today is the 16th inaugural lecture of the Federal University of Lafia. In 2024 alone, this is the 5th inaugural lecture we are going to have in the 6th month. Maybe we are going to have 12 at the end of the day. I urge you to always be here because there's always something to take away. This is the second lecture from the Faculty of Environment and Design. Environmental Design. The first lecture, inaugural lecture, was by Chris Eteta, now retired, and he took us to the jungle, where we were grouping right, left, and center, but we found ceramics, beautiful ceramics that were displayed. Today, Professor Gundu Gbaden, his names are so heavy. He's taking us in long trains. Thank God there are new sets of trains in Nigeria. And many of you who came earlier must have entered into the train that is called Chronicles, going around to see what this fellow has been doing right from his undergraduate years. At the end of this, I want those of you who haven't experienced that to go around with me. I once looked at his drawing and I said, wow, what loud colors. And he said, somebody looked at these colors and bled from the nose. You're not going to bleed from the nose. You're going to admire every piece of artwork that he has done and take something home. I'm sure some are for sale. Please spend some money here. I welcome you. Please enjoy the listening. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. That was the welcome address by the chairperson in the lecture committee of the university. Mr. Chairman, sir, one of our respected traditional rulers in this university was among the first guests to be here this afternoon. We'd like to welcome especially His Royal Highness Dr. Aluba Abadu J. Ejimegi. He's here with us. Welcome you. He was here during the 15th Inaugural lecture. He's here today. We appreciate your presence, sir. Thank you for coming, sir. May I most respectfully at this point invite the chairman of the occasion and the vice chancellor of Federal University of Lafia, Professor Shehu Abdul for his address.
The Deputy Vice Chancellor of Academic Affairs, Deputy Vice Chancellor Administration, Deputy Vice Chancellor Research and Partnership, the Registrar, the Bossa, University Librarian, Deans and Directors here present, our inaugural lecturer of today and his family members, other professors, heads of departments, and other members of Senate of Federal University of Lafia, our Royal Father here present, other distinguished invited guests, staff and students of Federal University of Lafia here present. I welcome all of us to this 16th Inaugural Lecture of today. It is with great pleasure that I welcome you all to the 16th Inaugural Lecture of our great university, titled From Long Train in the Wet Soil to Social Aviation, the Deviation on Arts, Inspiration and Process. Professor is the most senior teaching position an academy can attain in the university. Professors often choose their career path because they enjoy teaching and research and want to share their knowledge with other people. Inaugural lecture is one of the hallowed traditions of the academia, which provides professors with an unprecedented opportunity to showcase their research, innovation, engagement, and teaching activities before members of the university community and general public. The rite of passage to become a professor in a university has for hundreds of years included the test of having to profess knowledge to the lay audience and fellow academics. Today, Professor Blaise Gundu Gbaden is our good example of outstanding scholar in fine arts, whose numerous academic works and presentations attest to his contribution to knowledge in that field. He has made his difference in young people's lives through teaching, research, and community service. He has been working with a variety of individuals in his field of study and beyond. He is a highly accomplished professor of painting, and those he has mentored nationally and beyond in his area of specialty can attest to that. Congratulations to you, Professor Blaise, on this occasion of your inaugural lecture. On behalf of the university management, I express our deep appreciation to the University Inaugural Lecture Committee, which has Professor Ole as chairperson, for the progress made so far in our inaugural lecture series. This 16th inaugural lecture is a glorious testimony of the individual and collective commitment of the chairman and all members of the committee. Let me also use the opportunity to thank Professor Blaise's family for the support accorded him during the academic journey and during the preparation for this inaugural lecture. I welcome you all and bless you God. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. That was addressed by the chairman of the occasion and Vice Chancellor of Federal University of Lafia, Professor Shehu Abdul. Mr. Chairman, I've just been informed that members of the Indigo Student Association, OSA, said 1963, from where the inaugural lecturer was known, are here to show solidarity within this occasion. We'd like to welcome all of you to this event. On this note, Mr. Vice Chancellor, let me invite the orator, Professor Adu, for the citation of the inaugural lecture.
You do your lecture here. Yeah.
May I invite the inaugural lecturer to please rise and remain standing. The Vice Chancellor and Chairman of this inaugural lecture, the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Vice Chancellors, the Registrar, the Bursar, the University of Liberia, Deans and Directors, distinguished professors, invited guests. This is the citation of Professor Blaise Gundu Gbaden, Professor of Painting in the Department of Fine Art, Federal University of Lafia. Professor Blaise Gundu Gbaden was born on Thursday, 3rd February 1966 in Ilori, Kwara State, Nigeria, and spent his childhood years in Plateau State. He hails from the Ningev clan in Vandekia local government area of Benue State. His father, Mr. Boniface Gbaden Agiobo, was a medical laboratory scientist, while his mother, Celine Antube Ayobo, was a primary school teacher. He claimed to have gotten his initial reading and writing skills from his father. It is from his mother that he believed he developed the gift of art, since she taught him basic level of things to do at the St. Joseph Primary School. Upon moving on to the Boys Secondary School, BSS Gindiri, he further developed his artistic prowess, and even though he was admitted into the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, to study for a degree program in sociology, he would later switch to fine and applied art after just one session. It is within this period too he joined the congregation of the Holy Ghost Fathers and was sent to the seminary in Ijesu, Ghana for training. Upon his return to Nigeria, he completed his Bachelor of Arts degree in 1994. The Master of Fine Arts degree in painting was obtained from the Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, in 1999. And after 15 years later, in 2014, he earned a PhD degree in painting. As one of the pioneer set of students, Blaise taught painting and drawing at the University of Maiduguri for over a decade before transferring his services in 2012 to the Federal University of Lafia, where he now teaches painting, drawing, and art theory courses to both undergraduate and postgraduate students of fine art and visual and creative art. Blaise was elevated to the rank of a full professor of painting in 2021 under the watch of the dynamic Vice Chancellor of Federal University of Lafia, Professor Shehu Abdurrahman. This inaugural lecturer has various points served as the pioneer Deputy Director, Directorate of Research and Creative Thought, Head Department of Visual and Creative Art, and the pioneer Head Department of Fine Arts. He is currently the 10th Dean of the relatively new Faculty of Environmental Design. Blaise has published widely in reputable peer-reviewed journals, has edited books, and has contributed chapters to books collection, both locally and internationally. Being an active mentor to several artists, many of whom are his students and a few colleagues and contemporaries, he has curated several exhibitions and published several essays in exhibition catalogs. As a prolific artist, Blaise has held 7 solo exhibitions and participated in several joint group and international exhibitions, beginning even while still an undergraduate student. He has attended several training workshops seminars and symposiums within and outside the shores of Nigeria, organized by the National Gallery of Art and the Tertiary Education Trust Fund. And in some, he has been guest speaker, resource person, and facilitator. Blaise has supervised the research project, dissertation, and thesis of several undergraduate and postgraduate students at the BA, MFA, and PhD level, drawn from the University of Maiduguri, the Ahmadu Bello University Zaria, and the Federal University of Lafia. He has also been the subject of an MA Art History dissertation. He has accumulated a wealth of experience cutting across various academic and administrative responsibilities. Those include membership of departmental faculty and senate committee, as well as being resource person for NUC verification of undergraduate and postgraduate program in 4 Nigerian universities. Blaise is a member of a number of professional bodies, namely the Bono Museum Society, the Muse, the Group of 5, the Society of Nigerian Artists, where he served as secretary for Bono and Yobe State from 2002 to 2005, the Art Council of the African Studies Association, an international association. He is the founder and patron of the Maiduguri Art Club, and since 1999 has been a registered artist with the FCT Council for Arts and Culture. Blaise is a recipient of a Merit Award of the National Youth Service Corps, Adamawa State 1995, and the Wilbert has certificate of proficiency in printmaking. Being a dedicated Catholic, he belonged to Association and Prayer Society, where he serves in various capacities. They are members, Sacred Heart of Jesus and Immaculate Heart of Mary, patron, altar servers, secretary, Lafia, subordinate, Council of the Knights of St. Molumba, Nigeria, national president, associate members of Via Christi Society. Blaise considers himself a postmodernist painter who is currently exploring expendable, ready-to-made material to create fabric works which depicts social partitions in social society. He is also interrogating visual poems through the medium of circular canvas and predominantly acrylics, paints, and formed objects. Tactically, is quite central to his artistic vision. Aside from writing and reciting poems, he has won a number of commissions, and his artwork, which include painting, drawing, and paints, are domiciled in public places, private collections, educational institutions, cultural center, and with religious organizations in Nigeria, Ghana, Australia, Germany, USA, Belgium, Switzerland, South Africa, and South Korea. His hobbies are traveling, driving cars, reading, writing, watching adventures, and sci-fi films, listening to music, gardening, and cooking. Blaise is happily married to his sweetheart. I was going to omit this, but I'm compelled to say that because the wife has always been attacking me. Dr. Blaise Gundu Gbaden, the head of the Department of Sociology, Federal University of Lafia, in medical sociology. By the grace of God, they are blessed with 4 sons: Nobed Nguto Gbaden, Zachary Tenugwa Gbaden, Clement Gundu Gbaden, and Francis Nwande Gbaden. My Vice Chancellor, sir, distinguished guests, I present to you a complete gentleman, and a Tony of art, Professor Blaise Gundu, for the presentation of this inaugural.
The Vice Chancellor, Federal University of Lafia, Professor Shehu Abdurrahman, the Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic Affairs, the Deputy Vice Chancellor Administration, the Deputy Vice Chancellor Research and Partnerships, the Registrar, the University Librarian, the Bursar, the Chairman Committee of Provosts, Deans and Directors, the Provost College of Medicine, the Dean School of Postgraduate Studies, Dean Faculty of Environmental Design, Deans of other faculties, Directors of Directorates, Centers and Units, Professors, Senate members and heads of departments. I also acknowledge other members of the academic communities around. My students, past and present, my supervisors and mentors, my lords, spiritual and temporal. In absentia, the Bishop of the Catholic Diocese of Lafia, the Father Superior of the Acoustic Society, ably represented by the Very Reverend Father Dr. Daniel Magiem, and all the Acoustic priests here present, the Chaplain of St. Gabriel Archangel Catholic Chaplaincy, Federal University of Lafia, all priests, religious and lay faithful of the Roman Catholic Church, the Grand Knight, and his knights, the LSM President and our ladies, all of the Lafia Subordinate Council of the Honor Order of the Knights of St. Mulumba, Nigeria, the Aren Danka Sepki, the Group of 5, sweetheart, my sons, my immediate and distant family members, my ever supportive in-laws, Mama, welcome. My very beloved friends and colleagues, media and press officials, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It is by the sheer grace of God that I stand on this most esteemed pedestal today to profess to you this most august gathering, my modest academic journey of about 2 decades. On this 11th day of June, I am about 4 months away from my 58th birthday. I'm indeed privileged to stand before this committee of scholars as the first professor of painting emanating from the Department of Finance to basically inaugurate the first professorial chair of painting. Of course, I'm the second professor from the Faculty of Environmental Design, so behoving to profess, and indeed, I am the 16th inaugural lecturer to emerge from the stables of this prestigious university. And this act epitomizes excellence, integrity, and innovation that my university is known for. So I sincerely thank you, Vice Chancellor Sir, for granting me permission to deliver this lecture as a mark of distinction. My immense gratitude is also offered to the Inaugural Lectures Committee for facilitating it. My art story begins from Nsukka, that land that is covered by 7 hills, 7 undulating hills, very green environment. And at that point in time, when we went into the university, a lot of Marxist ideologies were being promulgated. I remember Professor Noli was one of my teachers, and he had a textbook, and he had this young PhD assistant who often came there. These people were hardcore Marxists, many people who left in Nsukka and studied in Russia, Cuba, etc., having been discontented with probably being with capitalist ideologies that were failing. So that is the background in which I went into the university. I encountered Dr. Ukedo Uche Okeke, which is now a septuagenarian. She was a motivator and a mother. I actually walked into the museum of the Institute of African Studies looking for subjects to draw, and I met her. That encounter would bring me close to Professor Uche Okeke, who happened to actually be one of the pioneer founders of the University of the Art School in the University of Nigeria, Nsukka. So my encounter was profound. I encountered human beings who were sages, but really, I became groomed by the very best. Later on, Professor Obiora Odechukwu would become my mentor and then groom me. I was basically the only Tiv person in the midst of many Igbos, but nobody saw me like some foreigner. Of course, sometimes they say, "You're Hausa," then I'll say, "You're even wrong, I'm not even Hausa." But Nsukka trained me to become who I am in theory, in understanding, in social ideals, etc. My training reached its fruition when I went to the Ahmadu University Zaria for my MFA program. And there too I encountered some human beings who profoundly affected my career. Professor Jerry Buhari, Professor Jacob Jari. I had missed meeting Professor Gani Ojitokun. Of course, he died in '95 before our begin university education in '96. We were offered admission in '95, but there was a hiatus of 1 year. I missed meeting him. So I met these ones who mentored me right at the MFA level and then eventually into the PhD level too. And their training was pretty profound. I've titled this lecture "From Long Trains in the Wet Soil to Social Ideation, Individuations on Art, Inspiration and Process." And its basic premise, actually, the title may be misleading. I feel tempted to tell you that what I mean is that when I was a little child, I would lie in the mud and use my finger to draw trains. I cannot tell you why I was fascinated with trains. All I can remember is that as a young child, we must have traveled from Kaduna to Jos by train. And there are times too that I traveled by train to Nsukka. It's an experience that will be alien to many of you. But when you're traveling by train, you would spend probably a night moving from one edge of the country to the other one. So I'll lie in the mud and I'll be drawing trains in the wet soil with my finger. So when I went into the university to study art, all I wanted to do was draw beautiful things. Then I met socialist ideologies, and my perception of life changed. This is the meaning of my inaugural lecture. Whatever I tell you, this is the summary. I'm an artist who likes art. But I went into the university and I discovered that there are social issues. And they're still there. Like I was telling the general when I was taking him around, the paintings. You see all those stitches, we're trying to stitch the country into place. Anyway, that is it. So I want to provide you with a little chronological account of the progression that I've made in my academic and artistic scholarship to merit this distinction as a professor. And there are about 3 tangents that determine my scholarship. First of all, I consider myself an artist teacher. Secondly, I'm an artist scholar. Thirdly, I'm a practicing artist. None of them is contradictory, but I'm not so sure that I chose to be any of the 3, apart from the fact that yes, I wanted to be an art teacher. I did not know that I'll be consumed by teaching to the extent that I'll probably no more be termed an artist. So I do not see myself as being an artist anymore. It is true that I grew into art, embracing it all with all the Bohemian rhetoric that comes with it as an inevitable reward of escorting yourself into art. Well, but now, having taught for 2 decades in 2 universities in Nigeria, can no longer justify being an artist. Rather, I see myself as being a teacher who uses art as a fulcrum upon which to project my scholarship, which rightfully emanates from various sets of artistic behavior. These artistic behaviors are teaching, supervision, and mentoring. This is opposed to creating art itself, which is the primary aim of an artist. Upon acquiring my PhD, I acquired a new set of postulations. Basically, that painting as a means, I see paintings as a means of production as much as it's practiced in the economics of division of labor, where people produce food and other implements of society for the purposes of consumption and application. I advocate that painting should not be seen as a high art, elitist as it is, but I want it to be perceived as a commodity. Just like food, tomatoes in the market, a stereo. I know that this is radical to you, because you may see these productions, some of them are from 1994, and wonder why they're still there. But this is the postulation that I got from that. I understand that holding on to things, to materialistic ideals, is exactly the bane of society. That's the capitalist ideology. So if we're going to be egalitarian, I propose that we let go. I've talked about long trains in the wet soil. Let me talk about the importance of process technique and materials. Art for art's sake would not just be an argument that is important if we do not take into cognizance the place of process and technique, and then the prominence of materials of execution and why art is done, the substance, the sources of inspiration for creating conceptual and multi-dimensional dimensional artworks. Well, the sources of inspiration for my paintings are not far-fetched. I'm explaining why, maybe in answer to Professor Ode, why my paintings are bright. Look at that yellow. You must see it from wherever you are, that red, green. Then turn around and see them. These elements are found within my African birthplace, Nigeria. I don't know if you've ever beheld the brilliance of the Nigerian landscape, with her rocks, hills, lush green plains, tall trees, and polychromatic horizons that stretch endlessly into infinity. Have you? The African landscape is one that has brilliant sunshine. There are no midtones, only glaring colors: red, blue, purple, ochre, yellow, orange, and that ever burnt color, black. It may be the color of your skin or the effect of the sun on your face. You see, this equator upon which we lie presents a scalding sun to we the inhabitants. You know, such is the intensity of life that it gives no room for tranquility or sublimity, only harsh realities. Cold winds at night, hot, humid nights, famines, chaos, the lines that clash, the shapes and symbols of variegated colors that seem to form a glare of confusion, the voids that must be filled. My paintings are full of voids that must be filled. Look at them. My country is one that is full of social paradoxes. There exists a social divide where the rich get wealthy at the expense of the poor, and the marginalized are destined for God. Yes, in the midst of all these, the people find time to dance in the sun, play on sand dunes, and weave tales by moonlight. It is a psychological mix-up in our brain, trying to grapple with and visually represent the social realities of one point of and psychophancy on one end, and then snail-paced democratic process and democracy on the other. I can assure you that these philosophical preoccupations were hardly my ambition when I set out to study art at the university. All I wanted was to paint colorful pictures, like I told you before, to create life, to bring out organic shapes. I wanted endlessly to create order, but all I saw was bitterness, pollution, immorality, corruption, crime, violence, genocide. I'll pick up a pen to draw, but probably monsters would appear with big mouths, bearing ivory canines, devouring the poor. There was therefore the temptation to move away from the merely figurative. So in my art, therefore, you see a mixture of these different configurations. The beautiful, the ugly, the gay, and sometimes the confusing, even to me. Well, basically the trend of my work has gone through certain types of periods. The Navy period, that is my childhood time, that when I lay in the mud drawing pictures. Then I moved on to the pre-academic period when I was introduced to oil colors even before coming into the university, so that by the time I reached the academic period, I had already understood how to use oil colors and basically introduced most of those materials to my classmates who would often wonder where on earth I learned all of these things. You know, I'll dwell on the fact that at Nsukka, under the guidance of Professor of Blessing, there was this fervor of creative activity. We were introduced to something called uli. And uli is the use of traditional symbols from Igbo culture to create art forms. And so it made me go back to Tea-land and look for tea motifs to create art forms. You may not see the motifs on my paintings, but all of this is from that time. When I went to Zaria, I moved into the conceptual art period for my master's degree. By the time I went back for the PhD, I became a postmodernist. What I love about being postmodernist is that anything goes. Postmodernism, of course, you know, is nascent, growing, embracing. It's like the coronavirus, I suppose, or a cancer that just grows. And it was a suitable ideology to use to create walls of partition capable of expressing discontent in human society and promoting advocacy for egalitarian art structures to be built upon artworks. Now I am in the artist teacher period, where teaching is my vocation. And then the one I don't want to talk about to acknowledge is the fact that I'm also transforming from the classroom to the boardroom. I'm a dean. I sign a lot of memos. We attend meetings every day. And I don't teach my students as much as I used to anymore. I know many of them understand that, but I often find time and I will say, wherever we encounter ourselves, we would stop. How has my studio practice been? I've always had a studio. I don't have to build a magnificent palace. As a bachelor, I'll basically paint on the floor, hang my paintings on the wall the way they are hung and painted. But when I got married, I became conscious of my family and I paint outside. All for two basic reasons, so that I'll not disturb the rest of the family, and on the other hand, I'll also be able to free myself from inhaling pungent odors from oil paints. So basically, I've stopped using oil paints. Almost everything here is acrylic. Acrylic is a water-based medium, and when it dries up, being synthetic, when it dries up, it becomes plastic. No odors are left behind. So I find that very comfortable now. So this explains my postmodernist posture in the choice of materials, in the choice of ideologies or concepts, because they suit my inclinations. But I also want to remind you that my academic training, tuned with a lot of intuition and all of that, have contributed in making me who I am today. I'm interested in compositions with mixed media objects that bear tactility, the feel, touch. It is when we touch other people's lives that will make a difference in their lives, either by speech, by behavior, or by training, or by mentoring. So tactility is important to me. A handshake, a hug, a kiss, tactility. And it's interesting to see how somebody works. I have videos, but this is not the channel to show you that. Can I share with you our Wittgenstein's formula? E equals to mc squared. All right. When we understand this scientific principle, you know, the fact that energy begets matter, and then matter disintegrates back into energy. This principle helps to set us free to view my artwork from a perspective that uses social triggers to include ideas in our consciousness. And it makes it easier to view the world from a more appreciably holistic perspective. So what are the things that I've used? We've oscillated basically from traditionally sourced archetypes and morphed into contemporary issues of social relevance. At the very base of my research is searching for sources of inspiration, looking for ideas that I would use in creating artworks, and not only for myself, but also for anybody else that cares. So these are the things that I've often worked in series, because one painting idea develops into another one, metamorphoses into another one, and it continues like that. Some ideas still comfort you. So if you look at the screen, you see Mame Water series, Dream Gods, Motherhood series, Takuruku, etc. And Walls of Partition. And then today, I'm a visual poet. That is a noun used whereby, especially those ones that are secular, I see them as visual poems. I'd like to talk to you about my academic scholarship. So the trajectory of my academic scholarship can be viewed in two ways. One is that projected of academic writing, centered on postulations which are concerned with sources of inspiration for the creation of art and paintings, basically from traditional and cultural sources, and then also, of course, contemporaneous ideologies and how these apply to the philosophical trust of various art ventures that I'm concerned with. And the second projector is concerned with my mentoring of students and even colleagues with whom we have all cross-fertilized ideas. Some of these influences may not even be known to them, but they are there. You could not possibly go to an academy and not be influenced by a colleague or a friend or a classmate, even if it's just reading together. This other person understands why 1 + 1 is equal to 2. This other one doesn't understand why 1½ + 1½ equals to 3. This scholarship of mine has spanned about 24 years. I've published in journals, mostly focused on, of course, sources of inspiration I've talked about. And then they engage variously. Let me just talk about them. Let me just summarize them the way I have done them over the years. So what I've provided here is a summary of how my academic writing has affected me and brought new perspectives to my life and those of those who care to know. One of the first things is that art must not last forever. It is futile to preserve art. It is futile to preserve art in museums. All of you are suffering yourselves and going around looking for repatriating artworks from when our ancestors produced those artworks. They probably were just meant to be used in the Provost Palace.
Very much. But we go around bothering ourselves with repatriation. But you see, I'm a postmodernist, so my perspective is often radical. Art wasn't meant to last forever. Some of these objects were created to be used in worship spaces, in shrines, in personal homes, never to be seen by the public. But today, they are all over the world. And we see them as evidence of our cultural heritage. Well, further on, my scholarship attempts to prove that traditional art was created to fulfill the religious prescriptions I've just talked about, to be objects that embolden fertility, that encourage procreation, and that can be used as projects conduits for the reconnaissance of life. Where they fail to fulfill these roles, they have no role somewhere else, in a museum or a rich man's palace. At other times in my academic writing, I've brought a series of examples of how oral law has influenced the ideation of modern Nigerian art. My academic writing also examines the process of bringing to artistic fusion the various themes of social economic quagmire as found in the cultural integration of Nigerian society. My academic writing tends to depict artists' ability to transform ordinary human objects into enigmatic personages. And at other times, my scholarship has attempted to unravel why the female form so fascinates male artists. In a more recent investigation, which is not within the range of that research of the 120, but also examining why the female form fascinates female artists. But because that investigation doesn't cover the space in which I became a professor, I leave that. My scholarship has also investigated the uniqueness of African visual arts in terms of the intrinsic expressions that are registered in them as a means of communication, aesthetic expression of symbols, and a dialogue with the supernatural world. My scholarship contends that contemporary Nigerian paintings are replete with images and notions of power and power relations among the ethnically pluralistic peoples of Nigeria, and therefore require some level of scrutiny. In the same vein, I have discovered that power is illustrated in the paintings of artists in different ways and influences the social life of people without necessarily distorting the aesthetic value of the paintings. I've written about drawing. Sorry, preparing for this show, we really didn't. I didn't provide my drawing, but you can see some inside the inaugural lecture that is circulating. So I posit that drawing is taken for granted by most of us artists, who tend to use it as a process to an end, rather than a finite art form in its own right, and therefore go on to affirm that drawing can be used as an instrument to navigate the understanding of modernism within the contemporary art context of Nigeria. I am not merely satisfied with investigating the vagaries of the fine and fine art. So in some areas I have dared to survey the similarity that exists between painting and philosophy. And I've brought out the fact that the common goal of painting and philosophy is the location of the truth, which is the essence and the average of lasting peace. In other writings, I present John Berger's theoretical precept, his 1972 precept. John Berger published a book called Art of Sin in 1972. And here he says that while paintings are representative of the aspirations of the middle class, and the Marxists were able to use this standpoint to attack painting of that era. So I have identified some paintings that fit into this elitist platform. I made there to call the names of probably people like Blaise Gundu, as maybe my classmates from Lebanon, for those who paint art that satisfies that elitist platform of understanding. Now, because my research work is collaborative and multifaceted, I've also examined the similarity between the scholarships of ceramics and painting, and how both bear convergence of technique and idea beyond their obvious physical differences and approaches. In furtherance of my postmodernist posture, I've highlighted the nuances and techniques of the paintings of some select Nigerian artists, such as the Lou Weaver and Matthew School, and then I label them postmodernists. You see, this is a counter to those modernists, such as collaboration or war mentioned initially. I have consistently, in my research, presented derivations of frequently from almost any source, ancient or modern, or far removed from their cultural context, proposing that they be by artists who are ready to use them. So in some other multidisciplinary collaborations, I present textiles also as viable, creative, ingenious alternatives to using festivals to create platforms. My art scholarship posits, in certain instances, that famous horse rider, that equestrian form, having been immortalized in wood, ivory, bronze, and then recently on canvas, provides an enduring source for modernist expressions. So I go into research, I look for forms of the horse rider and equestrian form, and provide them as some kind of source of inspiration for modernist expression. So aside from these sources, derivations from the Bible also present some challenging aspects of animal symbols for contemporary painters in Nigeria and elsewhere. My scholarship questions the body of knowledge in the visual arts that manifests as a clear process of critical thinking that covers debate and asks whether it can create a clear methodological process of creating new knowledge within the university system. What are we striving for? Is the visual arts scholarship meant to survive in the university system? It seems to have been introduced into the university system late, and the reason why we're grappling with it today is because of this late entrance into the university system. What it is an articulate knowledge space. Now that computer usage is important, I also highlight the impact of computers and technological devices, and how these technological devices impact on the practice of painters. At the time of, as at 2021, I have not yet done my film research on artificial intelligence, so I leave that out. I've also been commissioned to review books, and I've published them in reputable American journals, along with some of my colleagues, namely Emmanuel whom we have written a number of papers together. We have surveyed new paintings as found within the Nigerian art context, right from the era of Ayo Aino, 1860 to the present time, to form a basis for collaborative publication. Other papers advocate that artists need to nature, as it offers almost inexhaustible opportunities for creativity. Other papers advocate for production of art that should promote thoughts about morality and the human quality rather than embrace any social hunger for the mundane populist genres and blind acceptance of boyish colors. Most of my contributions to book chapters have largely been truth, interviews and conversations with people I've considered to be my mentors. Some have descriptions of the act of borrowing elements from existing artworks to create new paintings, appropriation of imagery or ideas as a legitimate means of creating new paintings. Sometimes as a valid cultural, social, and political statement, and other times as computational manipulations aimed at satisfying purely aesthetic works. I've also edited books in freshly forms in honor of my teachers and mentors, some of them and I've also been involved in the first trip in honor of Professor Duro. He's a professor of sociology, but I'm married to a sociologist who was trained by me. So I'm a sociologist by inclination. You can imagine adding sociological devices to Nsuka's training. Wow, you become a liar. There are roles. By the end, we call ourselves lion. I remember too. My scholarship includes writing of academic articles in art profession catalogs, and I've done about 24 of them as at 2021. And some of the people have written encomiums on in their catalogs, even include my teachers, Jerry. I've written for my colleagues, Chicho Biagu, Erasmus Michi, John Yeke. I've written for my students. I've written inside their catalogs. I've written academic papers published in their catalogs. I've written for my students, Joshua, Jonathan, Deborah. And they're here, some of them. And I've also written in publications that have been taken outside of the shores of the country. I've participated in several exhibitions, art exhibitions that are intrinsic to my artistic scholarship. It is during exhibitions that you get to understand the the expressions of creativity. Nobody can put them for you. You see them raw, unrefined. I use cold food that challenge the predilections and conventions. So the works of art that emanate from this purpose seem most times to create philosophy around them that define codification or classification, and at other times give room for philosophical inquiry to spring forth. Okay. What I'll tell you is that artworks provoke philosophical inquiry. As much as philosophical inquiry provokes the production of art. So there's a thin line between the two. In that way, I jump and participated in several exhibitions in Nigeria and abroad. I've written several poems, some of them are in native language. I've designed a uniform for societies and clubs and bishops' coats of arms. I write poetry and I recite poetry. One of the newest poems is actually inside the exhibition catalog. And I don't know how the muse came to possess me. Some of my drawings are inside the catalog. New paintings, semi-new drawings, portraits of myself, and there's also a drawing done in 2013 of my son Zachary when he was still in primary school. My recent paintings, as you can see them, I call them visual poems. Since they're here, you can see them. I'd like you to look at them. Let me talk about influences and cross-fertilizations. As an artist scholar, an artist teacher, remember that triple tripartite scholarship I told you about? There have been concomitant influences that have determined my career pattern, and I would like to acknowledge them. There was fecund mentorship within the student school. This was consolidated during my MA and PhD studies in Zaria School. Within this period of time, cross-fertilizations took place among us as peers. For example, the relationship between myself and people like Emmanuel Kanulo and Emmanuel Abu. When I went to Zaria, I had finished studying from the Sukra and even taught for 1 year or so, which is somewhere in Mina. So I went to Zaria and I met these young people. I think they were 200 or so. And all through my years in Sukra, I used both. Some of the paintings on the outside are handball. And this young man introduced me to using canvas. So these are 200 level students mentoring academic students. I've never shied away from scholarship that emanates from any source, whether it's like a little child, Francis is not here, or Francis will remind me that you haven't painted in a long time. So it is with this type of cross-fertilizations with my peers, aside from those who are my teachers that I'm talking about. Those who attune themselves to tutoring, for example, Joshua is here, so Jonathan is here, Deborah is here, Ahandu, Ibrahim Amali. These are people whom I refer to today, right from their 100 level to the point of their graduation. It's only Ibrahim Amali among those who I've mentioned that went to study in China and he was teaching. Otherwise, the other ones we encourage them to go to Zaria. Here, I also had gone to do my master's degree because we were not yet ready to offer master's degrees in the US at that point in time. I can attest that Dr. Jonathan's PhD in ceramics, even though it is ceramic arts, was founded upon the basic understanding of my own systems in acquiring the PhD degree using postmodern structures. As for Joshua, if you are very observant, most of his poetry paintings, you think that it's sometimes I look at them and think I'm not painting. The first time I encountered them, I got confused. I thought I painted some of them in my dream, only to realize that Joshua paints exactly like a wood. It is Joshua or anybody else does not need permission from me to paint on secular surfaces. None of my students need permission from me to paint on any subject in any manner at all, close to what I do. I too did not ask Jerry for permission to paint on secular surfaces. I also attest to you. I want to attest to you that it is in direct response to Prof. Jerry Buhari's use of secular formats that I started using secular formats. I'm proud to present Joshua Well as one of my current PhD students, and he's rounding up his thesis very soon. Dr. Amos Akaku is here. He was my student at the undergraduate level, and I know that his MFA and PhD degrees in painting have also taken cognizance of responses to my tutelage. His statistics and philosophical trust must have been found on the mentorship that I offered him. So Sam is here. He's a very successful professional studio artist living and practicing in Abuja in a very thriving academic atmosphere. He is an excellent example of indirect influence. I have acknowledged that there is direct influence and then there is indirect influence in these fertilizations and cross-fertilizations. And it's not necessarily because he's Steve. I think it's because he too also has that grasp for symbolic and philosophical painting ideologies. I can relate to him. I believe he can relate to me. He has written a very brilliant piece inside my catalog for this exhibition. So, of course, there are other positively impactful influences that even though they do not require strenuous documentation here, they are definitely perceivable in my colleagues, in my peers, and in my students at the undergraduate, postgraduate level, and elsewhere. Anywhere else at all that my art has reached through personal encounter or through what I call the third-party encounter. For all these, I am most grateful, and I consider it a privilege that my scholarship, artistic and academic, can make meaning to anybody at all. Where I am now. Well, I'm 58, and as a professor, I would say negatively that I have seen the futility of trying to be a change leader. Life is a vanity full of depleted ambitions. What I now paint at points and tell visual stories about the trials and travails of life that we cannot change. Only the colors seem to convey hope for humanity, which has suffered fragmentation from its episodes of damnation. Triumphs can only come with contemplation of the deep essences of human life. At this stage in my painting career, what I do is to attempt to convey the vagaries of life's frailties and the triumphs of human persistence. In conclusion, the discipline of painting is one that rightfully belongs to the fine arts, and is placed on a high echelon of society. To ask the obvious question, what is the way forward, is too predictable, I think. What I suggest is that in a postmodernist dispensation, the only predictable matters remain the changes and experimentation artists shall continue to engage in. The will to project oneself beyond the bounds of creativity and embrace multidisciplinary approaches to solving mankind's issues is a way to go. We know that the gains of globalization are numerous. But even without discarding our very primal, vital African traditions, we can be able to make room for articulation of the new world order. My embracing of postmodernist modes is an expansion of my worldview. If you accept my art, you will agree that it is born out of years of anxiety, of inadequacy, of profound scholarship, of desire, of lack, of want, of economic deprivation, in the midst of a sheer will to survive. This is my contribution to the global essence of sustenance. But I want to caution you, if you listen to this sociological or socialist, Marxist, utopian, you would think that I'm some sort of social idealist who is going in search of an elusive utopian state. And you know that that's futility, because even the strongest socialist Marxists have failed to attain a perfect human society. But the basic truth remains: I love art. Love, that word is inadequate to describe this relationship I have with my art. But it does give me fulfillment beyond measure to stand and paint all day, to perceive the smell of oils and linseed, the sound of palette knives, crushing pigments on canvas surfaces, the sight of indescribable colors shutting out the rainbow, the poetry of dancers, the wisdom of our ancestors, the hope of a regenerated world, more peaceful, more loving, and more forgiving. These are the truths that keep my heart alive. I love art. I enjoy creating art. Join my work. Permit me to make my acknowledgements. Thank you for listening. Take your time later on. Look at the artworks. They will be pulled down by 6 p.m. Permit me to thank the Vice Chancellor for listening to my story. I decided that my inaugural would be a storytelling session to free you from those academic nuances. I hope I didn't weave water like Prof. do. So, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you very much for giving me time to present myself to you. Allow me to acknowledge people that have made my life meaningful over the years. And it is found inside the most comprehensive one is found inside the catalog, which I'm actually just opening for the first time. So first and foremost, I give God Almighty the ultimate thanks for the privilege of life, one that has been largely full of healthy, bubbling diversity. I wish to express my deepfelt appreciation to those persons and institutions that have granted me and enabled my right from childhood up to the stage, where I can now profess my vocation as an artist and so be able to showcase my artistic scholarship on the world stage. I'm grateful to my Vice Chancellor, again and again, the management team of the Federal University of Lafia, for granting me this slot to present my inaugural lecture as the 16th persona grata. I acknowledge the immense scholarship of This my retrospective solo exhibition by the National Gallery of Art under the leadership of Mr. Ahmed Sudengi, and he's here being represented by Mr. Chukwu. By this singular act, the National Gallery of Art has shown its willingness to collaborate with the university via the Faculty of Environmental Design to promote art to an MBA pedestal. I acknowledge the contributions of my art body for artists by artists, FABA, situated in Abuja and Lafia, being the third sponsoring institution of this exhibition. FABA has faithfully journeyed with me over the years, and this gesture provides an acceptance of the impact my art has made on the consciousness of the contemporary art space in Nigeria, even as it essentially affects the knowledge industry of university art education for our youth. I am grateful to the curator, Chike Obeagu. We come from a similar source, the University of Nigeria in Nsukka, and also the co-curator and others who we have worked with within the Faculty of Environmental Design. I acknowledge the place of my biological parents. My mom, Celine Alotembe Agiobo. She was my first art teacher, and she was my first teacher at all. It is on her back that I learned how to recite A, B, C, and 1, 2, 3. And I moved straight into primary 2 when I was supposed to be seated in primary 1 until I was brought back, and I wondered why, because I could recite all the alphabets and all the numbers already. But I don't think my hand could cross and touch my ear. She had a very wonderful handwriting. You know, she was trained by Irish nuns. Then my father, even though he was a medical laboratory scientist, had a good grasp of English language. And he taught me how to be less tautological in my writing. I thank him. I thank him and my mom for accepting that I should go leave Jos and go to Nsukka. I can assure you it's a distance. Sometimes we stand on the bus endlessly. And I thank you, my siblings, of course. My younger sister, Elizabeth. Joseph is here, John is here. All of you with your spouses, God bless you. I must have studied in school for far longer than anybody else. I'll go into the university, I'll go to the seminary, and I'll come back to the university, and everybody waited for me. And it's a miracle that I'm a professor today. I also thank God for that secondary school I went to. Boys secondary school, Gindiri. I wanted to go to a Catholic school, you know, but I couldn't make it. I passed the common entrance exam, but because I had a stubborn uncle who had given them tough time and had been expelled, they were too suspicious of me. I mean, just going to that school and repeat the things. So I had to go to Gindiri, which was run by the Copy Mission, and I have no regrets. And to prove to you that there's a wonderful school, Professor Kondo is here, was my classmate. So we had education. I don't want to take too much of your time. It's my day, I love it. I love the fact that you're standing here with me, but I just want to acknowledge all of these persons, all those that I went to secondary school with, and since Kondo and others from India here, I've used that to cover that space. And by the time I went to Nsukka, I had other kinds of mates, Jaka. We did our PG together, and you know how it is, you call in his classmate and you want to cringe, bro, why are you doing this to me? But that is also what happened. I thank all those people I met there. I thank all the people I met in Maiduguri, Professor Charles Counts, the American ceramist, late Professor Charles Counts, who went to Zaria to look for me. For 4 years, they had been looking for a painting teacher, and I agreed. having consulted my dad, went to the So I want to thank Professor Charles Counts. I also want to tell late Professor Charles Counts, by the time I started, he had already died and buried, that I was interviewed to be employed as a lecturer too. But those guys employed me as an assistant lecturer. But I couldn't complain, my father had died. So I stayed in. I would like to acknowledge the role people like Professor Ahmed Issa Tijani, Professor Sunday Ododo, Professor Zainab Allah Sheikh Guli have played in my life. I've mentioned my students already. Some of them that are not even here, Collins, Harrison, etc. And then those of you who are here. While working there, I also met interesting people like Pastor Dr. Daniel Kawa here. I met Dr. Habiba Musa, who is now an associate professor in the Natural Science University in the Faculty of Law. I met series like Gabi. I met Mr. and Mrs. Moses Akese, who have remained my friends, and two of them are here, and his lovely wife, dressed in the same pattern. I want to thank Guto. Guto has been my driver in the last few days. Not my son, Guto, but my friend from the degree. I'd like to acknowledge the influence of Professor Naganami Kapta. He who was a professor of linguistics, but he's the first person to open my understanding of being an academic and taught me that progress in the academics lay in consistently doing research and publishing, and gave me an assignment and said, do 3 papers a year. And I tell you that any year I do not do 3, I know I've betrayed Professor Naganami Kapta. I acknowledge the space of Professor Idris Amali, who was my dean in the Faculty of Arts and Degree, and he introduced me to several practicing committee schedules. He didn't know the difference between night and day, Professor Amali. He could actually walk up to 2 a.m. And imagine that I was newly married. Professor Amali. Because I acknowledge Professor Idris Opanachi, who would go around the campus talking about academic foibles, poetry, literature, politics, and then in the evening we'll go to Odi's place, Malam Odi, and chew suya, and go pick down the bottles of Fanta and Coke. I want to see Professor Idris Opanachi and ask him, does he still drink Fanta and Coke and eat suya? But I think I'll look for him. He's somewhere in Jigawa. While I was waiting to be employed at the University of Nigeria, you know that time where it was a transition to the year 2000, and everybody was saying that the end of the world was coming. So I went into St. Augustine's and I prayed. But I wasn't thinking about the end of the world. I wanted a new career. And I prayed and I said, Lord, if you give me this job in Maiduguri, may it be here too that I'll get a worthy wife and a life companion. That prayer was answered. I wish to acknowledge my sweetheart. My beloved wife, and result of that answered prayer. We incidentally met. It is the same year we entered Maiduguri. She as a student at 200 level direct entry, and me as a young, I was 30 something anyway. I don't know how young that means. Me as a young lecturer. We met, but she's a teen one. So I was just gifted and I went my way. I didn't know that she'd become my wife. I could not believe that the intolerance that the two ladies I met in previous years, there's one that told me that you are the Blaise. I thought you were something. But this one didn't see me like that. Alright, so she's my wife. I have 4 handsome men. Four handsome boys. God, I thank you. I wish to thank my in-laws, the family from which my wife came from. I want to thank Mama Regina Cookie. So, when my mom died in February last year, she said, I'm your mom. Don't feel bad that mommy has died. Just come to me when you have problems and you want to lean on somebody. Yesterday when we picked her from the park, in order to take her to the house for this inaugural lecture, she was feeling depressed and told me that she wished my mom was around. And I said, you said you're the mom, you're the mother. So, Mama, thank you very much. I want to thank your children. All of them seated here in their dignity, who have taken me as their brothers. They love me so much that they can be speaking secrets and forget about saying this is true. So our relationship is not that one of brother-in-law, mother-in-law that makes you feel queasy. Just feel free. And I think it's a blessing that has come onto us. So I want to thank all of you who are here, Mrs. Bakan, on behalf of you and your husband and children and family, you who ensured that all my sons, almost all of them, stayed under your roof when they were going through secondary school. I thank you for that tolerance and faith. I thank Auntie Martina, our daughter, Jemima, stayed with me in Lafia those times that I was going up and down trying to complete my PhD degree in Zaria. Actually, I got that degree in 2012. So I want to thank all of you, Selumu, Florence, Father Jacob Atsu, Dr. Benjamin, who wrote and joined us. He's in the new department of public administration at the Benue State University. Honorable Samuel, who has also become a knight with his lovely wife. So, brother, welcome. I want to thank all of you. I want to thank 3 people. Permit him, my Vice Chancellor. I know I've taken a lot of your time. So I'll just say quickly, Professor Braid. Professor Braid, the first Vice Chancellor of the Federal University of Lafia, actually interviewed me herself, and she invited the registrar, Dr. Uthman Idris, and the pioneer Deputy Vice Chancellor, Professor Martin Ogbe, to interview me. I've never attended such an interview. They were simply conversing with me. I don't think I'll ever call that an interview. So I went back home. I'm sweating right now, but that day when I went home, my wife said, what kind of an interview is this? You're not even sweating. And I said, sweetheart, I've got the job enough. Let's go and prepare and come back. She will also employ my wife. And even though several spouses of our colleagues have been employed here, at the time that she opened the floodgate to my wife, she was the first person on Professor Braid's list. And for this I'm grateful. The second person, Professor Mohammed Sanusi Liman, appointed me for the first time as the head of the department in Visual and Creative Arts. He gave me enablement to be able to gain accreditation for the programs in Visual and Creative Arts for the first time in the history of the department. I rose to become an associate professor under his watch. For this I'm grateful. I'm grateful to Professor Shehu Abdurrahman, my current Vice Chancellor, because I cannot tell you what you saw in me. He appointed me to be Vice Chancellor. Finance. I was still head of the Department of Finance. He appointed me Deputy Director, Research and Creative Thoughts. He appointed me Dean, Faculty of Environmental. He ensures that I became a full professor of painting. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I acknowledge everything people have done for me in the Faculty of Environmental Design. All of you, the Deputy Dean, the heads of department, lecturers, students, postgraduate students, undergraduate students. I thank all of you. Look at you sitting there in your numbers, sitting down in unity in one space. Rita was hijacked by, oh, he's here, Prof. Rita was recently hijacked to the DVC's office, but we now have Blackley, Aboki. All of them experienced people, and they work in the background, making sure that my speeches don't falter, my memos are good, etc. And I thank all of you. I thank all of you. I thank all of you. I thank Daddy Dio and Mommy Dio, because I'm going to acknowledge priests and other religions right now. That family belongs to the family of the navigators. You would not understand. You think that being Catholic, we would be against each other, fighting religious doctrines, but we just talk about Christ when we're together. And that family is a great family. Great family. When you meet them, you want to get married. You will not know that marriage has got its challenges, but yeah, that's it. So I want to thank all the priests, religious, and lay faithful of the Roman Catholic Church in Nigeria who have made profound impact on my life. I left the seminary, but I love being Catholic. And I went into another vocation, which is that of marriage. And the presence of priests here shows you that all of us are inside you. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you for being here. The Holy Ghost Fathers, the priests of the Via Christi Society, who are actually an offspring of Holy Ghost Fathers, I want to thank you profoundly. I want to thank my... I should stop that. Thank you very much. I think that you read some of these other things inside of my catalog. Thank you very much. I'll stop.
This family give standing ovation and appreciation for this wonderful delivery of this inaugural lecture. Thank you very much, Prof. I didn't say you to stop. It's the time that I'm going to take to you. Please, I'll take a seat. At this point, I would like to invite the chairman of the occasion and the Vice Chancellor of the University of Lafia to present a gift to the inaugural lecturer. Mr. Vice Chancellor. You will be assisted by the chairperson of the inaugural lecture committee. This is another important segment of the inaugural lecture.
Number 16, Prof of Environmental Design, Certificate of Merit awarded to Blaise Gundu Gbaden, Professor of Painting, Department of Fine Art, on your inaugural lecture presentation titled From Long Trained in Wet Soil to Social Aviation, Innovation and Arts, Inspiration and Process. Today, 11th June 2024, congratulations. Again, as usual, this is the symbol to show that you have been inaugurated as a professor today. If you are a professor promoted 10 years ago and you did not present your inaugural lecture, you have not been inaugurated. So this one you place in the office. Anybody that comes to your office and sees, you know that you have been inaugurated. So I'm going to make sure nobody takes it away to go Yes, this is another gift. I don't know what is inside, but I know what is not, but I don't know what is inside. But it is not one.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Congratulations, Professor Blaise. We can now say you are the place. Congratulations, sir. May I invite Dr. Mohammed Rabiu for the vote of thanks and other announcements. Please, Professor Uga, please. Professor Uga. Give the vote of thanks and announcement in there. Thank you.
The Chairman and Vice Chancellor of the Federal University of Lafia, other members of the invited guests, and the inaugural lecturer, you have listened to this exposition on the topic from long trends in the wet soil to social aviation. I think because he is a husband of a sociologist, he began by looking at the Marxian evolution of society that started from traditionalism. All of us started somewhere. He started with playing with the soil, drawing trends, and becoming an artist. And he ended up becoming a post-modernist because we know Marx also began from traditionalism and got to communism, which approximates to what we call today as postmodernism. You have all listened to him. Where are you going from where you started? Where did you start and where are you now? There is still an opportunity for us to retrace our steps by recorrecting where we started so that we will know where we will get to. Remember how much he took. He went to the seminary, went to different schools, but he became an artist eventually. And so you can still retrace your step and through the different creativities and creations of your hands, you become that which you desire. On that note, therefore, I wish to thank all of us for coming for the 16th inaugural lecture of the Federal University of Lafia. It's our singular hope that very soon another will come because our Vice Chancellor makes it a point of duty for you to be called a professor. Just like one of my colleagues would say in the Faculty of Social Sciences. He said, any other person without an inaugural lecture to his name is not a professor. And therefore today, we have fully and completely inaugurated Blaise into a full professor of the Faculty of Environmental Sciences. And that way, therefore, I wish to request those who, I don't know, sir, whether we have half professors until the inaugural lecture. Those who have not been inaugurated to make effort, because Prof and the Vice Chancellor and Chairman is making every effort to make it very easy for everybody to present his. And so I thank us for coming. I wish us all very safe journeys back to our destinations. However, the inaugural lecturer has requested that I inform us that the reception for the continuation of the artwork and painting, but this time around we are not going to be painting on canvas and oil. We are going to be painting on plates and spoons with bottles. And so this will hold at our Diamond Hotels. This hotel is located along Pandiri Road opposite the College of Agric in Lafia after Polytechnic. I think this particular hotel is located directly opposite the turn to Paradise Hotel. And so once you get there, you will see us there. And you will know that that's where we're going to be painting plates and spoons. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. We'd like to also thank our royal father, Dr. Ayuba Agwadu, for coming. I will thank Professor Chinwe from Lagos University, who is here for this event. Mr. Chairman, on this note, I would like to say that we have come to the end of the 16th inaugural lecture of the university. May I request that we pray silently, thanking God for the success we've achieved today. We do that silently according to our different faiths for a few seconds, please. Amen. Thank you very much for coming. We appreciate your presence. We pray that the good Lord will take you to the destinations safely. Thank you. Please thank the security and protocol officers, please for the Senate, Vice Chancellor, protocol officers, and other members of the Senate to lead the reception in the arena before we get the place crowded.
The place. It's not for people who are taking it.
I was not thinking of another thing.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
We are happy to have you here. We just want to ask you a few questions. What is the concept behind merging your inaugural lecture and your solo exhibition?
Yes. Well, I'm not so sure the concept is new.
I know that on the average, somebody would expect that an inaugural lecturer will come, stand on the podium and speak. But I'm an artist. I'm a visual artist. And if I talk about my work, it will look abstract. You know, the artwork is already abstract. And if I talk without showing people what the art looks like, it doesn't make sense. You know, almost when I was concluding, I said that art stimulates philosophy. And then philosophy also inspires art to take place. So you need to be able to see the artworks in order to appreciate what I would say. So the artworks are really where the inaugural lecture emerged from. All I wanted to do was to be an artist. I had no idea that I had to inaugural. It's projecting our scholarship. And considering that I'm inaugurating the first chair of painting, I would like others that will be coming forward to also do the same thing, emulate the same kind of technique, imbibe the culture of exhibiting and also doing academic talk at the same time. It's very vital and important. That's the reason why I did that. And you know, we produced a catalog recording the art aspect of it, separate from the lecture booklet.
So, how do you feel today celebrating the peak of your career?
I feel relieved. Woo! You know, this is number 16. So imagine that. I think it's only one lecture. I've attended lecture 1 to 15. Only one out of these that I've missed. Only one. So I look at it as a huge endeavor. Let me tell you a secret. I couldn't eat food in the morning because I had butterflies in my stomach. So it's a relief. It's a great relief. It's a great relief. But when we were standing there and the citation was going on, I said, okay, this place you're doing citation, I have to live up to expectation of what is expected. I'm excited, I'm relieved, I'm happy, I'm proud, I'm glad, I'm happy.
Can you tell us briefly the idea behind the topic of your inaugural lecture?
It's very simple. You know, the lecture, the title is From Long Trains in the Wet Soil to Social Ideation. So what happened is that as a small child, I would always lie down on the wet soil, on the wet ground after rainfall. I lived in Jos, in Vom, Plateau State, where the rainy season is even harsher than what it is here. And I'll be drawing trains in the soil. I wanted to say that all I wanted to do was to be an artist. I did not know that if I went to the university, I would encounter social ideologies. You know, Marxist theories were there, we studied courses, we studied economics, political science, psychology, French. We had to do paintings that would criticize the wrongs of society. So that's where social ideation comes in. And the other part of it was concerned with the techniques and the processes of creating these artworks. How I source them, how I do them, the materials that I use in creating them in order for them to look how they look. And I talked about sources of inspiration because when you're standing here, see the green grass or the sunshine, these things are bright. So when my colors are bright colors whenever I'm working, just to be able to capture the essence of life in this part of the world.
Just in conclusion, do you have any advice for your mentees as a mentor?
Okay, hard work, consistency. Okay, being a painter, I would say practice makes perfect. I'm not too sure there is any other profession that would not say so. But you know, our students today have a tendency of sticking to assignments. But if you want to be a painter, I suppose that you need to be working consistently. I always tell young people, do everything you can now. When you get to my age, you'll be doing less now. Now I'm doing a lot of, it's not administration, I'm a dean. But you need to see, I didn't exhibit everything. Many things came in from Abuja today, and I couldn't exhibit them. I didn't bring my artworks from Port Harcourt or Lagos. I couldn't bring, and then the ones in my dad's house in the village. Because I couldn't just blame them. So I had prolific life as a younger person, and then right now I'm an academic and I'm doing administrative things. So they need to work hard and be consistent and ensure that the outputs would bring out more outputs.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. I'm grateful for your time.
Okay, R now, after M now, R. M. Okay, A, give me letter A. After A now, which is Y. A. Okay, R. And the wonderful Y. Now you put them syllable over the new lecturer and 6K.
Essentially from undergraduate days up to, let's say, 2021 when I merited to become a professor. So this is, for example, I think this is 1999. I must have finished my master's then. But this is current, this is 2020. 2019, just before COVID-19. I started this series around about 2015, basically, as a way to immerse myself into philosophical questions.
Of art in the person of Mr. Ahmed Bashir Sodani and his management team. We present this set of National Gallery of Art publication. For some of you might not know that National Gallery of Art is a publisher. All these books are books published by National Gallery of Art. As part of our mandate, so the representative of the Vice Chancellor.
I would like to thank, National Gallery of Art for this presentation that are more in the paper. Now, you see, art books are very rare. Art books are very, very rare because sometimes artists are being accused of not writing because they always concentrate on their practical work. But now, artists are writing. We are writing, we are publishing. So the art books are getting more and more available now. But they are very expensive. I'm sure National Gallery of Art must have spent a lot of money, not even dollars, to purchase or to acquire these books. So on behalf of the Vice Chancellor, I would like to thank National Gallery of Art for being gracious enough, to present these books. So please extend our gratitude to the National Gallery of Art for actually presenting these expensive books and valuable books to us. Thank you very much.
Rain is coming, and so please let's start, and then we'll do this thing. Joshua, can you lead yes?